Hello, I welcome you to this concluding part of this episode. And if you're just joining us, we have a guest, Olawale from Nigeria. He living here with us in Vaasa, has been with us on this show. Mr. Olawale, we welcome you back.
Thank you so much.
You had a very fluid first part of the episode where you were talking about your migration, the reason why you moved here, and how it has been for you in your first 2 years of living abroad. There was a particular interest that hits me, which is the interest of rounding up your education on time to save up paying the tuition fee for the second year. You overheard the information, or will I say the insights from your study buddies who were from Asia, and you even shared the information among your own people. For some reasons, those that you shared information with, the Nigerians or your African community, did not utilize it the way you gave it to them. I am curious, why was it not utilized by them?
Well, let me say, first I'll say maybe over familiarity, which does not still make sense to me, that even if you're over familiar with someone, but the fact that someone is sharing an information that can be beneficial to you, you should not just disregard it because it's coming from your fellow African. Because I'm very sure that if somebody that is not an African is coming to you with information that is a little even lesser than what the African person is sharing with you, I'm very sure a lot of time our people take it more seriously because it's coming from a non-African person. And it's not a good thing, because I know people might have had some unpalatable experiences with some other African persons and etc. But I always encourage people to treat people on individual basis. Don't judge Mr. A with the experience that you had with Mr. C. Because if you come up with that attitude, you might just end up chasing somebody who has some goods to offer you away. No one is an island. We all depend on ourselves. And this kind of a system that is being done or that's being run in Europe or in Finland, for you to survive, and not just survive like just living or existing, but like to flourish, you need a community.
Do you belong to one here, a community?
Yes, I belong to a community.
Community of Yorubas, Igbos, Nigerians, Ogun State, or
I belong to
Africans?
I belong to the Nigerian Migrant Welfare Association group. It's a community that when I arrived, there were a couple of discussions about we need to have a registered association, because a couple of events that happened and we weren't able to speak out simply because a group of people who comes together but not registered with the government is not recognized as a legal entity.
True.
So you can't stand for anybody. So we felt we need to do things right. And then there were a couple of discussions as to how do we get an association registered with the Finnish authority. And this discussion, I remember the first time this discussion came up, I was there, but we just discounted it and said, Nigerians and their wala. Yeah, but later on this discussion came again, and this time around, I think it happens when we're doing send forth for one of our brothers who was living in Finland at that time to do something else somewhere. And after that meeting, just said, okay, we need to do something. Then we asked people, what do we need to get this done, to materialize this? And say, we need someone to write the article of association, we need this, and etc. And then we said, okay, if it is the article of association, after all, we write business plan and etc. writing an article of association will not be an issue. And then I wrote the article of association and then shared it with everyone, particularly those who had been here for a long time and those who showed interest, because I need to also underline that one. I need to also underline, because there are people in this place who have just made up their mind that they don't have business with Nigerians again.
You mean Nigerians do not have
Nigerians,
business
yes,
with
who does not want to have any business with other Nigerians again. To me, that should not be. Some of them might probably be based on the unpalatable experience they've had. But to cut the long story short, we registered the association
And this is a selection for only Nigerians
for Nigerians.
living in Finland.
Well, our focus is on Vaasa and its environs. That's the municipal around Vaasa.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where the focus is.
Okay. Are you the chairman of this association?
Well, that's a long story. I'm actually the chairman, even though I didn't plan to be. Yeah, because when this article of association was written, and then there was a discussion, because you need to have a group of people who will be like the face of the association before you can get it registered. And then there were discussions as to who and co. And I told them what I promised is to do the article of association, which I have done. From here, we have people who have stayed here in this place for 20 years, 15 years, and etc. You have known this terrain very well. Take it up, lead us. We will be happy to support you from behind. And one thing led to the other, and everybody in that meeting, I remember that day I told them, I said, is this a conspiracy, or had there been a discussion before we had this meeting that you guys concluded that I should be the one to lead the association? I wasn't palatable with it.
I was in that meeting. And I remember I was also a person who suggested you to be the chairperson of the association, because I know I haven't been here long enough. There is a kind of a capacity that gets the boat into the sea. That is a mindset, and I saw every box that needed to be ticked. I saw you ticking them. And I didn't want a situation where the momentum will be eroded. Secondly, I personally, I have come to understand that nothing gets done on its own. You need people with motion, people with goodwill and the willingness to get things done. So if you can write the article of association, reach out to people about the goodwill of fellow Nigerians, and for us to have a commonality to uphold, I do not see reason why such a momentum, will be, for instance, transferred to somebody else. And I personally, being involved in the association, your leadership has been an outstanding one, and I don't think there is anybody who would have filled that position better than you did. Then I know you don't like I know personally you're not the type who take thank you or welcome, because you have a fine line that you have to keep between flattery and being likable, But then, like you mentioned, those before you, and those after you, you saw that you had to tick the line that some people were not forthcoming, and this is one of the things that you get, when people have stayed long, they begin to get a bit tired, they begin to get wearied out, and for the association to get kick-started, we don't want people who have worn out. I don't mean it in a negative way, but people can be muddled with so many emotions or history, or like you put it, unpalatable experiences, and then they drag the association to a halt. You came with newness, you came with a fresh energy, you came with a mindset that was different from what was around, and then you got the ball started. So moving it, I personally considered And I still think till today, you are still the best person for that role, and you've been doing it well. So, on behalf of Nigerians that live here in Vaasa, and all the Nigerians who live in Finland, I thank you for what you do. And I'm saying more feathers to your cap. So let's drive back.
As much as I don't want to take the compliment, they said a tree does not make a forest. It's only when there are chiefs and subjects that you have a king.
True.
When there are no chiefs and subjects, can the king govern himself?
No.
Exactly. So whatever success we have achieved today, Steve did give the credit to you. I give the credit to entire ESCOs. I give the credit to a lot of people. As much as I don't want to mention name, but I'm really touched to mention Lekon, to mention Mamus, to mention some other persons, you and some other ESCO member. Because a lot of time when people choose to be selfless, I see that selflessness. I'll give you an instance. We organized a cycling competition, and we're supposed, it's not really a competition, but just to burn out some calories and etc. And then on the day we gathered, we saw people, not too much. The turnout wasn't really much, but at least we were able to count the number of persons. And then someone who had a new injury, if you see the leg that they put POP on, and the person said, no, if I just see that at home, it's not going to help this competition. I can't cycle, but my presence here will go a long way to cheer people up. And the person came. And while this person was coming, stopped at Nidu and brought drinks with his money.
Wow.
Yes, with his money. And the funny part of the whole thing was the fact that, despite the fact that this person could not cycle because of the nail injury, you believe that this person drove after, he was driving with us.
The whole time.
I'm telling you, with his car. We didn't buy him for. When we were the place where we're supposed to stop, he drove there, he went to go and wait for us. And as soon as people got there, were tired, he brought out drinks and etc. Said, guys, take, and etc. and co. That is much. That is much. And that is the spirit. Those are the people who want things done, who want to see a change. Because sometimes everybody can speak grammar, but very few people can put that grammar into action. We've organized events where people that we saddle with one responsibility of the other even came very late, very, very late. Very, very late. I told someone one thing one day. I said, today, we are here in Finland doing this our thing. 10 years down the line, I don't know where you're going to be. I don't know where I'm going to be.
That's true.
And I said, you see those people who are up there and they have their own circle of friends and cliques. Do you actually think all of them got here together?
No.
It took someone who is there to be pulling others out. And they don't get to pull people that they just knew when they are there. They get to pull people they knew even when there was nothing that would make anybody to want to pretend that they are nice. And everything we do, we're actually knowing ourselves, we're observing ourselves.
Very true.
So when it's time an opportunity come for a decision or something, we know who to call, we know who cannot do it.
From experiencing them individually.
Exactly. Somebody told me, I'll quickly share two, but I'll be very brief about it. Somebody told me about one person who was a minister, who was appointed as a minister in Nigeria. And when the person resumed, one of the big issues was there's this agency, a money spinning agency of the government, who has a battalion of issues. And it was so conspicuous that they had to chase away the GM. I mean, is it the GM or CEO of that agency? And this minister is now saying, I need somebody I can vouch for. I need someone I can vouch for. There was a guy he met when they were still working in a company somewhere. They went for an event, a team bonding. The guy was in his team, and etc. And he could see how tenacious, how rugged, how determined, and a few conversations they had really shows that this guy is wonderful. And then they were not really in talk every day, but at least he has the guy contact and etc. This was about 17 years after they met. The opportunity showed up. And the first person that ticked all the boxes was the guy he never had a paddy relationship with. And he had to do his own background, and everybody said this guy is.
Wow.
And the guy, from whatever position he was, I don't want to mention the person's name, but somebody we all know. From whatever position he was, he got an appointment as the MD of that agency.
Just from what he did many years ago.
Many years ago. We need to look beyond what is happening in Finland or wherever we found ourselves. We need to look beyond that.
Do you think the nature of surviving in Finland and the everyday life and routines that we find ourselves, does it becloud our sense of judgment and our association with ourselves?
Well, I will not say 100%. I'll start by saying a good person is a good person, irrespective of the circumstances. And a nonchalant person is also a nonchalant person. Somebody with a spirit of division, to scatter it, to sabotage, it does not matter where you take that person to. It is what they have allowed to form part of their identity. Yeah. Wear a beautiful white garment for a pig.
The result is it's foreknown.
Exactly. So I tell people, okay, let me mention this. There was an event that happened somewhere, and then people were angry. And when they were angry about it, because one person felt betrayed, say, "Oh, I trusted this person," and etc. And I told the person, unfortunately, you learned in a hard way. And I believe that whatever you learned now will prevent you from falling into it another time. And they said, okay, what is it? And we started discussing. And I told the person one thing. I said, in life, you need to have values for yourself. What are your own values? What are acceptable behavior, characters around you? What are your goals? Because with your goals, you can set your values. And your value will determine your circle of friends. I said, you don't need to fight anybody. The moment you itemize your own values, everyone that you come across with, compare their behavior with your values. Do they take it? If the answer is yes, then there are people you could have within your circles.
Do you have circles here in Finland?
Everybody has circles. The people you play with. Yes, I do.
Because you mentioned before you moved, you had a circle. And when you noticed kidnapping were happening, you decided to seek greener pastures.
Yeah.
And now you are here, 2 years down the line. Have you been able to form a circle for yourself?
Well, what do I call a cycle? Let's start from there. A cycle are just like a group of people that are your go-to persons. A group of people that are your go-to persons.
Does it have to do with location, where you are?
A lot of time it might not really be in your immediate environment, but somebody that when there is a need for something, you know, if I call this person is going to be there.
You mentioned need. I'm going to digress, but it's not far away from your lived experience. You said before you came to Finland, you already had financial provisions. So it means that you were prepared on the certain expenditures you are going to make.
Yeah.
And you had some savings, even though now exchange
rate was a problem.
Was a problem. You had to go to the other markets to source your euro. Need, finance and financial need is a big problem in the Western world. I have had a series, and currently I know how much it weighs me down. The need for finance. You prepared from Nigeria, now 2 years down the line, what have you observed about finance and financial needs of migrants living in Finland?
Okay. Let me put a caveat before we start. I don't always expect people to follow my way of life. I am an I Japa person. And there's this saying that an I Japa person that went to the university to study economics only went there to do research, because every day of his life is economics.
Okay.
Do you understand? So,
please allow me to laugh.
I grew up with a very strict financial discipline. Yeah. And that's why when I was growing up, I embarked on projects that people will often ask, where did you get the money? Yeah. So I don't see money as you make it, you spend it. You have to always think about the day that there will be no enough sun to dry the clothes.
Welcome to Finland.
Yeah. So what will happen when the sun outside there is not enough to dry the clothes? Would you start going to knock on doors? In Nigeria, you can still see people who will listen to you. But in this part of the world, it's an individual society. Now, what have I observed? A few things. Number one, we want to impress people who are not looking at us. I want to let people know that I am doing fine. There's this saying that it is the empty drum that makes the loudest of noise. The fact that you can sign a document to get that car, to get that house, to get that phone, to get that clothes, designer one, nice one that gives you some prestige, does not mean you can afford it. Having it does not translate to affordability.
Having it does not translate to affordability.
Yes. Because if after the payment for all those things are deducted from you, and at the end of the month, you can't even put aside 10 or 20% of your saving, of your earning as a saving, then you are in deep shit. Because a lot of us, we want to impress that we're doing fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But The impression that will not enable you to create a buffer in case there is a problem, then you don't need that. That impression is not meant for you.
Do we need the buffer?
Everyone needs a buffer. Even the government needs a buffer. Because one of the buffers that the government runs to is they have foreign reserve.
What is the buffer that migrants can have?
Okay, so as a migrant, you need to have a set aside of your earning, a minimum of 20% every month. If that is going to cost you your eat out, it's better. It's better for you not to eat out than for you not to have that thing.
Wait, maybe when you use the word buffer and you use the word 20% of your salary, what are you really mentioning?
Okay, maybe we should break it down.
Please break it down.
Okay. So when I say buffer, I am referring to, in this context now, an emergency fund, an emergency money that you can lay your hands upon if something you don't expect suddenly surfaces. Nobody pray for the negative to happen, but the negative don't write letter to anybody that is coming. It just suddenly show up. It's not the question of I can pray. No. That's not there. We need to be very realistic with ourselves. You need to always ask yourself, what are the biggest financial crises I could have? You ask yourself as an individual, what are the biggest financial crises I could have? And then when you answer that question, then you now ask yourself the next question. Do I have what it takes to handle this crisis? Perhaps it happens. You might prepare for crisis and it might not happen in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Like I said, it doesn't write letter that it's coming.
Do you have the buffer?
I told you that I'm a manageable person.
Have you noticed that people who are migrants in Finland, if they have such buffers from your 2 years of stay, do you think people have it?
Well, it's actually difficult to judge a book from its cover. And I'll tell you why. I met someone, a Nigerian, somewhere, and we were talking. And the person showed me, not only told me, showed me some of what he had been able to do within a period of, I think, 7 or 8 years he has spent in Finland, at home, and etc. I was thrilled. I was impressed. And guess what? This person, the car he drives, is actually all these Fiat they sell 700 euros. 700, 1,000 euros. Permit me for those using Fiat.
Yeah.
You know those kind of cars?
Yeah, I know. Fiat Kilo is one of them.
That's what he drives. That's what he drives. And he doesn't even buy a house there. Just managing the apartment that he pays rent for. Is it the money he has in Finland I want to talk about? You cannot see him outside and assume that he has, I don't want to go into detail, that kind of money. You say na lie where you won't see him.
So he has a strong buffer.
He has built something for himself. In fact, he told me one day that one of the things that drove his decision was that, God forbid anything just happen. And he had to pack his things. Is it going to start from zero if perhaps they have to go back to Nigeria?
What about those who have lived here for long, who might not necessarily have the thoughts of packing their bags and going home, do they need this buffer?
Definitely. If you look at the Finnish economy in the last 3 years and now, they are not the same. After all, I've not even stayed here for long, but if I have to compare when I entered into this country to now, there's a big difference.
There is.
People who lost their job were not expecting it. And this time around, it's not only people in the private sector. One of the most secure jobs anywhere in the world is a government job. And people who work with government are also affected. So imagine people who have been living from paycheck to paycheck. The day they get that news that the source of the income is ending, it means that day they might not probably be able to sleep.
We have Keller.
Exactly, that's where we're going. That's the exact place where I'm going now. For the Finnish people, you have Keller, which is like a social benefit. But you can also attest with me, you can attest to it that how many times government had cut down the benefit from Keller. Since this thing happens. There were reports that I read on Ule about people, locals now even being kicked out of their apartment they probably rented because they couldn't meet up with the financial obligation. There are people who had to move out of a big apartment to studio apartment because they could not keep up. Social benefit is just to keep you alive, not to live, not.
Wow.
It's just basic. The government wouldn't do for you more than that. And that is if at all you're entitled to it again. Because you have to talk from the perspective of migrants now.
Yes.
Not all migrants are entitled to this.
True.
So if the locals are not finding it palatable, then what about you?
What has been your experiences with the locals since you moved?
So the things, like I mentioned earlier, one thing I first learned about this nation, which I appreciate a lot, is their level of patriotism to their country. I read about when this other grocery company, I think they said they're from Germany, I don't want to mention the name, came into this country. I was told that despite the fact that they were selling cheaper groceries, the Finns choose to hold on to their indigenous grocery firms. Don't tell me they were being subsidized. Yes, they were being subsidized, but how much people pay to buy a sachet of whatever it is? It's still higher despite the subsidy compared to the one that came from Germany. But Finns seeing that, yes, this one, I can get this chocolate bar for 20 euros from this place, but our own indigenous one is 25 euros. I would rather go for the one of 25 euros.
To keep the money.
Keep the money, because the belief is that everything I am doing for these companies, I am actually doing it for my people, and later on, it end up doing it for myself.
Is there a behavior we migrants should have about our own home countries?
One behavior I always preach migrants to have is patriotism to your country. No matter how much the country has happened to you, the general slang, as Nigeria happened to you before. It's a slang.
Yeah, it is.
Everybody can tell one way or the other where Nigeria happened to us. But what can you do about it? That is your identity. You can deceive yourself as much as you want, but that is your identity.
Yeah, I had an incident in Helsinki. I have rarely mentioned this to people. I had an incident in Helsinki, at the Helsinki Tori. There is a very big shop, city center, like
Like a town square.
Yeah, a town square at the Helsinki. I had a train that was going to Riihimäki. Then I lived at Riihimäki. So I was waiting for the train. I just went by the bus station just to sit down and chill. I had an incident such that while I was seated there, an experienced elderly woman, maybe she should be in her 50s or early 60s, walked up to me, and told me to move, like I should move away from the seat. Every of those bus terminuses have a bench.
Yeah.
That I should move away. That what am I doing here in Finland? I'm like, what do you mean? She said this in Finnish. So I responded, I told her, no, that I live here too. She was like, that's not what she meant. Like, what am I actually doing here? That I'm from somewhere and I've come here to take away the good things that are here in Finland. I was like, no, that I came here to study, I live here now, I work and I pay my fair share of taxes. He said, but at the end of the day, if this country goes to war or has any kind of situation such that my life, my safety, or my entire existence is threatened, then I'm going to move away. But for her, she has nowhere to move to.
It's her home.
No, this has happened, this is like over 80 years ago. Still, it's stuck.
Exactly.
So, nativity, is not something that can be replaced by documentation.
Exactly. And the earlier our people realize that, the better it is.
How do we realize it?
Okay.
Because now we have this hunger to Japa. Or should we now be talking about Japada?
Well, the point is this. If you look at the UK, for instance, now, there is a growing trend of Japada in the UK. Because the pasture that is green, that people went to the UK to go and get, when they got there, they found the reality of the pasture, and they found out that, oh, this green is actually an artificial green, not a natural green. There is a green you get from a leaf that is alive, or a grass that is alive. And there is a green that you get from an artificial plant, a plastic. Do you understand?
Wow.
That is also green. The two of them are green. But until you get to the plastic and to the plant, supposed plant, and you touch it and say, this one are natural, being a plastic. But you will not know until you get there. So, what is responsible for this Japada trend is majorly because a good number of people have stopped living in denials. My people will say, like, you call yourself, your intestine and the organ in you together and say, guys, we need to do a meeting at this point. My life in Nigeria, how was it? I have spent 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years in Europe. How is my life? Now, from these two places, where do I have more prospects? Every day we are getting older. You can ask yourself this salient question, this very salient question. In the next 15 years, how old would I be? Where would I be at that time?
At what age should migrants be considering these 15 years now when they live abroad?
Well, this I would say it's not really about, or let me say it's subject to how old the person is, generally.
Is there a number?
The purpose we came here is different.
True.
Do you understand? And secondly, if, like, I remember one of my, I call him my daddy, even though he's late now, because he was my pastor, but we had a relationship beyond pastor to a father and son. And one day, when I told him I was leaving, or after we got here, he called me one day and said, how did Nigeria find itself in this situation that our best of brains are now Japa, are leaving the country? That when he was growing up, and even as an adult, that it's only people who were not doing so well that tried to travel abroad. At least if things are not doing fine in Nigeria, let me try somewhere else. Those are the people. And I could bear witness. A couple of friends I had who went to UK to go and do their masters in 2011, 2012, 2013. As soon as they are graduating, the next thing they are back to Nigeria. I'm not talking of 30 years ago, I'm talking about recently. And then all of a sudden, those who even returned then, some of them were even considering, even though I had some who said they're not going anywhere. Because there's this friend of mine who will tell you, I have seen everything, all of you that are going all those places, just because you have not been there before.
He has lived the realities.
Yes, he said, it does not matter what it is, he's staying here.
Because he has seen it.
Because the person has seen it.
Do you think we don't talk more about what we have lived or experienced abroad? Do you think that is the reason why a lot of people are still desirous of migrating abroad?
That's a wonderful question. And I'll tell you that it's divided into three. The first part of it is the media projection. The Western country is big on PR. If you don't know, let me tell you. The Western countries spend a lot of money for branding. A lot. Because they have to continually project the good image out there. And part of the branding extend into your local media in your country. They pay newspapers, they pay television program, even the movie your indigenous movie. All of them all project one thing. Abroad is the Eldorado. It's everything you need. Wow. That is the message. And then a child who had not even graduated from secondary school is already saying, I need to go abroad. Never even considering the possibility of even trying anything. I need to go abroad. So the projection is number one. Number two, we that live abroad, we want to form an impression that we are doing fine. We don't want people to feel like, oh, it was a mistake we did. No, we're forming the impression. iPhone 17 is out. Probably cost 1,700 euros. To some people, that is like 1.5 months salary. To some people, it's 1 month salary. And you know what you go through to get that money? Because you cannot even afford to pay it once. You go and sign credit. You're going to spend 2 years to pay iPhone 17. And then everything, you have iPhone 17, we are the one raining and etc. Because you want to project to other people, particularly those at home, that you're doing fine. And then somebody at home is looking at you and saying, iPhone 17 that is just out. It's the big boy in Nigeria that is using it. It means this person is the big boy. He's a big girl. Abroad is the best. It's only in abroad you can get it. And then, in fact, the people that pay me most for are the people that sell their properties to relocate abroad.
That's the problem too.
Yeah. We will get there. Let me talk about number three. The number three is now the combination of the media projection and the impression by the abroadians that will now make people that even when you tell them that this green you are looking at is plastic green, it's artificial green, it's not original green. Oh, they'll say, no, you don't want us to come because we are bad person.
Some will even tell you, why are you still there?
Exactly. But let me seize this opportunity to address those who ask that question. A good number of people burnt bridges. When I say burnt bridges now, it's not like maybe they spoiled relationship or etc. With the high expectation that a good number of them had when they were traveling abroad, they actually, some sold property and disconnected themselves from every valuables they could come back home to meet. Job resigned, sold everything they had and etc. And they got abroad and what they are thinking is not what they meant. Do you expect them to just jump back on the plane to come and meet what? I kept telling people, even the people I know, don't ever sell any of your property
Because you want to
move. You see that property that took you 5 years to build in Nigeria? You know, when we are talking about houses in Nigeria, there is no mortgage. If this is my house, that's my house.
Yes.
I'm not paying mortgage. 100% my own.
Yes.
Then you sell it off. You raise the money. Big money in Nigeria. Money that can barely pay your expenses in Finland for 1 year. Then you come into the country and see the reality. It is total suicidal. I have somebody who had probably stopped talking to me, and I don't care. And I'll tell you why. It's like the wife was mounting pressure on them that they should also Japa, because all our schoolmates are Japa. But you are a guy doing fine. Permit me, not all women does that, but in his own case, because I'm a little closer to him.
Yeah.
So I knew where the pressure was coming from.
Yeah.
You understand? He was doing fine. He has a house he built for himself in a choice area in Abulegba. That house, even at auction price, can't go for anything less than 80 million naira. And he's not an employee, he runs his business. You have a car, bought a very nice car for the wife, children goes to nice school, and etc. And then somebody is saying, leave all those ones to Japa. To where? Let me tell you the funny thing. This thing I am saying to a lot of people, they're like, hey, shut up. In fact, from this video now, some people will say, maybe because you are not doing well. Excuse me, I am doing well.
But
because that's the next thing.
yes.
Do you understand?
They become personal with their attacks.
I am doing well. By the grace of God today, I can afford anything I want to afford. I'm not boasting.
But why do they make it personal when you are trying to prevent them from making mistakes that you have now realized as a living migrant abroad?
So I think it's a psychological thing when someone tries to dissuade you from an ideology you have held so tight. You find a way you see it as an attack. And in your own response, you want to attack back. And that's why they go personal. And when I'm talking to people and I see somebody who digress, that it's a common thing among our people. Because they will never hear,
Man.
No,
it didn't.
Before I proceed, see, a couple of, like I told you before, they said abroad is for, like that my daddy told me, those who were not really doing fine
Yes.
in Nigeria.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Then some of the Nigerians you know, particularly the last wave of Japa that happened from 2021, 2022 till date, which even though is now going down now, ask some of them what they were doing in their country. Ask some of them what they were doing in their country.
I can tell you the ones I have met, the one I have met were doing quite well. Some of them are managers of bank branches, insurance brokers, multinational corporation overseers. You know, there was one guy I even met in Expo. Oh boy, this guy said he never reach office. We say gate man never open gate, not office door. He never reach. Just in go na street. As he want enter the street where the bank branch day.
Oga is coming.
Oga is coming. What is she gbogbo ilẹ̀kùn fún ẹni náà? What we want ma ṣí gbogbo ilẹ̀kùn yẹn? Everybody will be moved.
Yeah.
He comes in, he parks the car, the door is open. He's the branch manager of the bank. And when I mean of the bank, that branch is not a small branch. The guy now lives in Expo. Guess what he does for a living? Dishwashing.
And now you want to tell the guy to go back home.
I have met so many.
Exactly.
And they live the regrets every day.
And they cannot say it out.
If they cannot say it out, should they now continue to propagate it or prop it in such a way that it invites more to repeat the same mistakes?
Okay, so anyone in that shoe who does that, I'll say is a witch. Yes, it's a witch.
Olawale, are you a pastor?
Yeah, I'm a pastor. So because it is witchcraft that will make you to do such a thing. You know, that something is, this is the situation. Now, sorry, don't let us get something wrong. There are people doing fine.
I know.
Do you understand?
I know.
Now, the question is, what is the percentage? Because in risk taking, you have to look at the percentage of failure as against success.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
It is never a good risk for you to take if the percentage of failure is 75. Then how do you measure the percentage of failure? They say he that refused to learn from history will also become history that people will learn from.
True.
Do you understand? If you have done your due diligence, you have found out how some of these things are, and you even get people to tell you the truth.
The truth is the only reason why the Stephen Ikebude show was set up. Because a lot of videos out there, like you mentioned, you mentioned 3 different things that have been put. The media, the PR, like you mentioned. There has been a lot of connotated videos packaged to sell the dream.
Exactly.
The greener pasture.
Exactly.
The economic freedom. An illusion of a lifestyle that is not realistic. There are so many videos. You go to TikTok, you go to X, you go to Instagram. Come to Finland, come abroad, come to Europe. Your problem will be solved. You're going to see the snow. The lights never go. Why you laugh now? You don't go see snow.
You go chop on 1 December. And after December, your eyes go clear.
Come to Finland, study is free. This one is that. People go sell properties. And now, the point is, those that are living abroad personally do not see it as their own job to tell others this is the reality. Many would love to do it, and many have come on the show to say it the way it is. And now today, you are even using this medium to say it the way it is. But many who have personally done so have been personally attacked by friends who tell you, you waited that place. Shebi you say the place no good. What you did that place they do. So I commend those who come to the show. I commend those abroad who are doing well, but who see the need to prepare others so they would know that the reality is not the same with the PR.
With the fantasy they had, the dream that they had, it's always at variance. That's just the truth. And let me also say something. It is very wrong for you to be bitter with the locals. Yeah, but I will not judge you for it, because an average human being is going to react the same way, most especially when you face those stigmatizations and etc. But you also need to understand one fact. This is their home. This is their country.
Yes.
They have to put their people first.
Yes.
It's not everybody that will be like us from the country where we came from, where we can afford to trade our own people for penny. They value their own people. You are the one who doesn't value your people. So don't expect them to behave like you. I told you that the Finns are nationalistic people. They have this. How do I put it?
It's a level of patronage that is second to none.
Somebody told me that because I asked, why did you buy this item? And the person told me, you can see the Finnish flag there. It's our product.
Yes. It's in fact they will even put it has become that branding.
Yes.
They pay for it. It's written in Finnish, valmistettu Suomessa.
Exactly, with that flag.
Yes. Made in Finland.
Yes.
Prepared in Finland.
Yes.
Packaged in Finland.
It doesn't have to do with how much it's sold.
No.
But the fact that
It's
is my own.
in Suomessa.
Exactly. Yes. So you chose to sell your own for free.
Hi.
Congratulations. And do you know the funny thing? Do you know the irony of the whole thing?
Oh boy. let me drink the water now because it's valmistettu Suomessa.
Because the irony of the whole thing is the fact that we want to live for today, forgetting that we have children coming behind us.
Yes.
A legacy you did not preserve will make no meaning to your children.
Please say that again.
A legacy you did not preserve will make no meanings to your children.
Wow. Mr. Olawale, we are going to have you again on this show. We are going to have you again because you came packed. And in as much as there is a lot that still needs to be said, I would want you, in conclusion, to mention something that your 2 years of living in Finland, that you have seen, observed, that personally you think should be corrected among Nigerians or African migrants.
Thank you. So first, I will want to re-echo this, that as a Nigerian or as an African, you need yourself. You need yourself. There is this adage in Yoruba, they will say, Kekere lo fi tomo mi, kò ṣeé gé dànù.
Kekere
Lo fi tomo mi, like we're just a little related.
Yes.
You cannot unrelate it.
Kò ṣeé gé dànù.
Kò ṣeé gé dànù, you can't remove it. We are Nigerians. We carry the same identity. We just have to see ourselves as a co-traveler in this journey of life. Like I mentioned at the first, before we went on break, 80%, or let me be conservative, 70% of things you see on the display are actually different from the reality at the back, behind the curtain. What you are seeing on display is just what the person wants you to know, or to see, or to understand, or to believe. Meanwhile, behind the scene, there is something else. Nigeria is like that today. Africa is like that today because Africans are being used to impoverish their fellow Africans. Now, person will know person, they do person.
And so the talk am. And so it be.
And having analyzed the whole thing, then I look at some of those people we call the politician, the so-called devil that carries the title in Nigeria and some other African countries. And I look at their behavior. And I compare it to the behavior of some of our people that we are even in abroad here. There isn't much difference. Yes. The leaders you have who are misbehaving up there are product of a society.
Yes.
The same society where we are from, right?
Yes.
If you are not a self-taught person who is determined to do something differently, when you get to that position that they are, you might even do worse.
True.
Exactly. And then, finally, in this world, no matter what you have believed, no matter what you have been told, whether in the school, in the religious houses, or etc., please open your mind to unlearn and relearn again. Because over 70% of what you thought are true are not as you are told. So this word is deeper. How did I get all this? On the conclusion, I got to Europe because we were implanted with this mindset that, oh, these European people are better than us, sophisticated, more intelligent, and etc. And then I got around. Then I started looking for those sophisticated, more intelligent, and etc. Then I began to do the comparison. My people are smart now. My people are great now. They are very intelligent now. So where exactly is this problem coming from? That led me to reading a lot of books. I read books, even some alleged books that have been banned from being published. I sourced for them. I read them because what caught my attention was, why would a book be banned from being published? Then I read, and when I read them, I knew why they had to be banned. But the truth remains that no person can cater for you than your brother or your sister. The earlier we start changing our mindset, even with our children, the better it's going to be. I got confrontational with an old classmate who happens to be a pastor, and he said some statement about African people and etc. I had to give it to him. Like, anytime now, you stand on the pulpit and brainwash people to do the wrong thing. Conditioning them. Making brothers to hate brothers. Making sisters to hate sisters. Finally, this time around, finally.
Please.
Finally now.
Go ahead.
At home, and I know we carry that kind of behavior down here. There is this, shall I call it rivalry or ethnicity or tribalism among the various tribes of Nigeria. And we carry it down here. First, a good person does not have a tribe. Neither does a bad person has a tribe. Your tribemen can sell you for less than 30 pieces of silver that Judas sold Jesus. And somebody who is not your tribe man might be the one to rescue you out.
True. That's very true.
So, no tribe man. And secondly, which is finally, you see that tribalism and religious sentiment we have in Nigeria, they are not naturally grown. They are sponsored.
To divide us.
Because a house that divides against itself shall not stand.
And that division, do you think is also...
Oh my God.
In Finland.
Oh my God. Oh my God, oh my God. I am for Paul, I'm for Apollo, I'm for this, I'm for that. I'm not doing this one with this one. We need to form our own association. We need to do this and etc.
And we form too many associations dividing ourselves.
What is the impact?
Division.
What change has it brought to us?
Zero.
You see this broom that we use in sweeping?
Yes.
When it is one, you can easily break it.
Yes.
When it is 200, it becomes difficult to break.
Yes.
That is the power of synergy.
Yes.
That is the power of union.
Yes.
Abi?
Igbos people call it Igwebike.
Okay, good. Not only the strength now, it's difficult for you to use two strands of brooms to sweep very well.
Yes.
But when you have it like 50, 100,
it does the work.
It does good work.
Yes.
Exactly. That is the power of our unity. You just came yesterday. Who be this one? We will defend this one. They are trying to change this one. They are trying to put this person out of the equation and etc. They are myopic thinking that we need to get away with. Thank you so much for having me.
Mr. Olawale, it's always a pleasure to have a one-on-one with you. And on this show, I can say personally, it has been a good one. I personally thank you for being a part of this show. The insight that you have shared, the experiences that you've lived, and the opportunities that you're giving us to hear part of the untold stories that you have recorded is a pleasure, and we are thankful and grateful to you for giving us your time.
Thank you.
For those of you that are out there, we also thank and commend you for being a part of this episode. We are sure that you are part of our community, that you will do us well, to leave your comments, to give a share, to click on like, and to subscribe to our community. The next person you are going to see on this show might not be him, but I can promise you that he's going to be back on this show, because we know that we know that Olawale is packed. Olawale, thank you once again.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you.
Do have a good one. Bye.
Thank you.